Well, good morning. So hopefully many of you were able to join us. And if you're not, tell your friends, start to get on so we can talk today about Women Veterans Recognition Day in the state of Michigan. So today I get to be the host of this conversation that we're having today. My name is Zanetta Adams. I am the director of the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency. And today means so much more to me than just Women Veterans Recognition Day, as I am a U.S. Army veteran. Today also marks the first anniversary of the day that I was appointed as the director of the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency by Governor Gretchen Whitmer. It's been an exciting year for women veterans and veterans all over the state, regardless of whether they're female or male. So I wanted to tell you and invite you to meet some of the folks that we have on the call today. As we have a discussion about women veterans in Michigan, and as we have a discussion about what this day really does mean to so many of us. So first off, I wanted to introduce Miss Candy Robertson, and please tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Good morning. Well, I am retired ITCM from the U.S. Navy, which is Master Chief. My husband and I moved here to the Flint area actually last year. My husband retired 2 years ago. We have 2 young sons who are about to turn 9 shortly, and also 2 older children that are also military veterans as well. To include my dad, who's a retired veteran.
Nice. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to get more into your story today, and I'll let one of my colleagues ask you more of those questions so that the listeners and the watchers and the readers can really get a sense of who you are. So next up, I wanted to introduce our next guest, which is Henrietta Hadley. Henrietta, if you could tell the Facebook folks out there a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Henrietta, as Director Adams mentioned, and today I am representing Wink for All Women Veterans, a nonprofit grassroots organization started about 5 years ago by veterans for veterans, and serving as their outreach coordinator over the last 3 years has really impacted my belief and commitment to women who have served our country. One thing I will say about being a volunteer and working with the Wink Women for Veterans is it also helped me identify as a spouse of a Marine and an Army veteran, former spouse, how important it is for women to be recognized as spouses, as women who have served our country, and just community members at a whole. So to be here today, to be the voice for some of our women veterans on a major day of Michigan recognizing women veterans is huge for me. And I just want to say today, thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us. Some of you out there watching may be wondering, well, how did people get chosen for this call? Well, you'll hear more about that, or this post, you'll hear more about that in a little bit. But I will say that we had this amazing coffee hour yesterday that was geared towards women veterans as we led up to Women Veterans Recognition Day. And there were so many amazing people on that conversation that we couldn't get all the information out there to the veterans. We are allowing this additional opportunity to share with you what's going on, the many things that we've done here in the state of Michigan, and not even just as a Michigan organization, but also with our partners out there, the many women veterans across the state who are working tirelessly to make sure that other women veterans are taken care of, as well as those who are not veterans who are looking out and making sure that there are programs and resources for women veterans. So with that said, I'd like to introduce
The U.S. Navy.
Hoover, and I will just give her a little bit of a boost.
From the U.S. Navy.
Erica is amazing. Erica she has been with the agency for a few years now, and she made quite the impact on women veterans even before I sat in this role. So she is our brand new Women Veterans and Special Populations Coordinator for the state of Michigan. That's how much we value making sure that women in the state of Michigan have the resources and benefits that they need and that they deserve. And so I will let Erica tell a little bit more about herself, her role, her branch, and then we'll continue on with this conversation.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for that, Director Adams. as she said, I'm Erica Hoover. I've been with MVAA since 2017, working kind of unofficially in the role for women veterans. I'm a Navy veteran. I worked as an aviation machinist mate, which is a jet engine mechanic on the F-18. I learned a lot of skills. I'm kind of a generalist. You'll find out that I like to learn a lot about, a lot of random things and really expand my knowledge. I'm also a policy nerd, so part of this job really sits in my heart, and that I get to identify barriers and gaps for not only women veterans, but other special populations in the state. So those that have been underserved traditionally that we haven't reached out to before, it's kind of my job to figure out, the partners that we need to involve and how we can make things better. And I'm really passionate about it. I never knew that this was something that I would be so passionate about, but I feel like I found my love as I have, gone through that transition out of the military as well. It takes a little while, as I'm sure a lot of you know, to kind of figure out where you fit in the world after you get out. So, with that, I guess, that's a little bit about me. We can, should we move on to talk a little bit about, she is a veteran, Director Adams, would you like to do that?
Yeah, but I had this question. You brought up a really great point. I mean, I think that there are some people who still think that women veterans serve in this ancillary role, like we're nurses and we're kind of that, like we can only do supply or maybe cooks. And so to hear that you were a mechanic, right, in the military, to hear, and even on Candy Store, and I'd love you to share what your job was in the military, just kind of expound on that. Women veterans and women who serve in the military are in any and all, pretty much most roles in the military. And so we don't just serve in those types of roles. We've been in combat for many, many years. And it wasn't until recently, though, that we were officially allowed to receive the pay and the type of increases that you could receive for serving in combat. So that's really important information to understand, that on those, what I say, the front lines. Right now, there is no front line. And would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would say that 100%.
There is no front line. You can go to the chow hall, defect, where you go get food, for those who don't know. You could go there and be a target. So there is no front line, but women have been doing amazing and extraordinary things. Candy, tell us a little bit about what your role is in the military. And I think that will be a great segue into our She is a Veteran campaign.
Okay. So in the beginning of my military career, I mostly worked in the information technology realm. So working on computers, radios, stuff like that, satellites. But as I grew in leadership in the military, and actually one of my very first leadership roles in the military was with the SEAL teams. I was their information technology chief, and I deployed with them to Iraq in 2007. And well, a little bit prior to that, because I was going to the SEAL teams, I was required to go to a school that only really Airedales, which are aviation warfare specialists, Marine Recon, Army Recon, all that, and the SEAL teams actually go to, which is SEER, which is Survival, Evasion, Reconnaissance, and Extraction School. It is a 2-week course that you go to where you learn about everything you need to know in the field the week prior, and then you're put out into the field to essentially survive, so that it can prepare you for what you're going to encounter when you are stationed with the SEAL teams. I was one of 2 women that was in the leadership position while in that school, which made it very difficult. And not to mention the normal difficulties that would come with a school like that. And then after I graduated that school, I deployed with SEAL Team 7 to the Al Anbar province in Iraq. While I was there, I had the opportunity, I was asked if I wanted to join a team called the Iraqi Women's Engagement Team while I was there. And while we were on that team, there was approximately anywhere between 4 to 5 of us who would go out into the community. When you're in Iraq, they're called factions, and go out and provide humanitarian assistance to the women in the community. But while you're also doing that, collecting some intelligence to bring back to your team to provide information for them to do their job. So that is one role that I never probably would have thought I've ever done in the military. When I joined, when I was 19 years old, I didn't think, one, I'd be in Iraq, since my dad was there previously. And I didn't think I would function in that type of capacity out there. It was exciting. It was scary. At the time, I wasn't married. I didn't have any children. So it made it a bit easier for me to transition into something like that. And a few things with the military and just being in that type of community, there's no time to be scared. Especially as a chief petty officer, you're there to be the leadership that people are looking to. And at that time, I'd only been in the military for 8 years. So I was a little bit wet behind the ears, I would say, for my military experience going into that. But I didn't have time to think about that. I took my experiences that I had previously been through and the people that were around me, and just did what I needed to do and helped with that. Looking back on what I did, I probably would not volunteer, possibly, with knowing the things that I know now and having, my children and my family, because it is scary, but it was the best experience, I could say, that I had while I was in the military.
Well, it sounds like you have such an amazing story. And so I would ask Erica, where can we hear more about this story? Where can we hear more stories like this?
Yeah, so check out our Facebook at Michigan Veterans, or I guess you can go to michiganveterans.com, and then that'll link you to our Facebook page. You're probably already on our Facebook page, or the Wink Facebook page. We're gonna roll out stories every other month until next June. And Candy's is our first story, and I'm so excited that she was willing to talk about her story, pretty much from start to finish, from the time she, wanted to join the military all the way until retirement and some of those challenges. I think it's, it takes a lot of bravery and vulnerability to put the stories out there. And I think that's a way that we can all, kind of learn to change our hearts and our minds and the way that we view what a veteran is and who a veteran is, and that, it's not that man all the time that wears a baseball cap, that we look like this, right? So we look like you, we look like me, we look like Candy, and not to assume immediately that we didn't, maybe that we didn't, maybe not all of us were in combat, and then those that were, we certainly appreciate that. But we all had a job to do as well. And so She's a Veteran is a campaign that is just near and dear to my heart. I've gotten pretty close to all of these women. There's 6 of them. And I really hope that everyone shares and likes and shares their stories along with these stories. I think it's just a way that we can learn to connect. And I will be, we'll be doing some more of these coffee hours for sure, or these, Facebook Live events. And I really want to get out in the state and do some coffee hours when we're allowed to, get back out there and meet people in person. So,
and I know, Erica, the campaign has really helped our organization engage our women in conversation, because when we can share with them the campaign promotional packet that your organization has put together, it gives them validation to want to speak about their experience. So I know of those 6 women, I think there's 2 Wink women that will be highlighted, and we're excited to hear their stories. But we're using it as a tool to connect with our women veterans across the country and here in Michigan, just so that they can hear their own sister stories and be motivated to share their stories.
Good.
So,
happy to hear that.
And so, Henrietta, I would ask, so, tell everybody a little bit about like who your target audience is with Wink, what you all do to engage with women veterans.
Well, I think in the beginning, it was one objective, and one objective at heart was to engage the women to revitalize their lives with a holistic approach, from the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, just so that they could understand that they were whole, they were important, and that they had a place to come and connect with their sisters. So the first line of, I think the mission was to just connect and let women know that WINC stood for Women Injured in Combat. But then the pushback was, well, what if I didn't, go and I wasn't in combat? And then the founder shared with all of our partners, it doesn't matter. We all served. Whether you were in combat or not, we are here to serve all women veterans. And so we were able to take that stigma away because, again, women veterans don't want to self-identify. So anything they could find to say, well, nope, I don't belong, then we embraced everyone. So the objective was, if you put your hand up and you served and you volunteered, WINC is here to help you make that transition back home. Because you ladies know, when you come home, family members don't know what Candy said she participated in. They don't even understand that. It's almost speaking another language. So what WINC was here to do, and will continue to do, is to help those women transition from the military to their homes and back to their families, giving them that support, sharing with them the resources and the materials that are out there on their behalf. A lot of our women veterans don't want to join any veteran-related associations due to whatever their experiences were. So we're there to kind of help them along the way. If they need to seek VA benefits, we're not here to give them those benefits, but we're surely here to encourage them to call the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency or to go to their local veterans service centers. After we gain that trust with women veterans, then we're able to sit with them where they are and say, what can we do to help you be a better you? And so in some ways, we've done that by offering retreats to our women veterans. There's one particular retreat that I know won my heart of women veterans was Camp Courage. Our founder, our former president of our organization, was very committed to making sure that women were able to come together on a recreational level and just have fun and just do women things and understand each other. So we would go in the wilderness of Camp Courage here in Michigan and just have a fun weekend and just sit around the campfire. And at that point, women started to kind of unfold and unpack some of those emotional concerns that they had. And around the campfire, you better believe there was a lot of transparency that would start to happen. And what we found out is that a lot of our women, almost 50% of the women who would join us at Camp Courage, then revealed that they had experienced military sexual trauma and that they had not shared that experience with anyone, and that they had not even started to think about it. And that was one of their main reasons for not self-identifying as a veteran. And don't you know, we listened. And later, maybe a year later, we were able to partner with one of our community mental health providers and start to create a safe place for our women veterans to start to have peer support groups, talk about their concerns, lead them to the right professional provider, be it mental health or primary health, walk them to the VA if they didn't want to go into that institutional issue that might trigger. So I tell you, the retreats have been really our gateway to start communication and to start healing for our women veterans. But now, after 3 years of my participation with the organization, I am starting to see women veterans just grow in their area of expertise. And when I say that, they want to start their own businesses. They want to go after those leadership positions. They want to be recognized as a woman veteran and stand tall and be the voice for those sisters that are still suffering in silence. And so for me, and like Erica, I've just fallen in love with the fact that I can serve women. And then it's also made me, as a former spouse, want to stand up for my sisters that are currently serving their husbands as their support, and getting more in tune to what are those resources that now that I didn't know about, that I can share with women who are in the fight with their husbands, who may be suffering from whatever traumas or triggers that they're dealing with. So I tell you, I am on a whole new trajectory to whatever I can do for WINK and for my sisters in arms that served as spouses to our men who served our country as well. But right now, WINK is really doing more to partner with organizations like Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency. Michigan State University has created some veteran services. We're standing up affiliates across the state. So today in Michigan, we are really roaring as women today because we have so many women that are seeking and excited to be recognized today. And WINK was at the table with Director Adams and Erica when they had that first let's go and pitch our reason for being recognized. We shouldn't have needed to do that, but we did. And I just appreciate Director Adams and Erica for putting your voice out there for the women that maybe didn't even recognize they needed to be recognized. So just thank you, ladies, because it's keeping WINK going strong.
And I appreciate that. The bottom line is that we have so many organizations out there that are working hard for veterans, for women veterans, and that are led by women veterans. I mean, I think about Of Impact in our state. I think about, Women Veterans Interactive within our state. I think about Women Veterans Empowerment, and there are so many more. And if you're out there and you're helping women veterans, or you are a women veterans organization, I encourage you to contact us at our 1-800-MISHVET hotline number, to connect it with Erica, because we want to be supportive of what you're doing. We want to share your good news. We want to share information. And it's really important. I think that kind of gets into why this day is important for women veterans. This day is not about saying we're better than our male counterparts. This day is not about saying that we want to have this separate day because Veterans Day we just want to have another day. This day is about so many different things. It's about educating the community that women not only serve, but they serve in huge capacities. So if I was to park in the Lowe's parking lot spot that's reserved for veterans, I don't have to go through the 3rd degree to prove that I'm the veteran, because you're not doing that for a male. So that's what this is about. This day is about women veterans recognizing that you felt honor in service. I want you to feel honor out of service. I want you to be proud of the service, even though you may have gone through many different things. You may have been hurt while in service. You may have been frustrated while in service. You may just have a life and you're taking care of your kids and you got your job and you're just like, I don't need to identify as a veteran. I have so much going on. This day is about you stepping up and saying, you know what, that is a part of me. That was a part of my journey. And I'm proud about that. It's also a day that we can elevate the issues that we face within, receiving the same resources and benefits that other people do. I think that the VA is doing a tremendous job, and they are making strides and efforts to make sure that women veterans are heard. I mean, they have a phenomenal leader, with the Center for Women Veterans, Miss Jacqueline Hayes Bird. She's doing a great job in making sure that, women veterans are feeling heard and that they are actually being recognized on that federal level. But there's always still work to do. I think there's always still work to do. And so when we look at some of the harassment that we've heard that women have to go through in walking into the VAs, continuing to make strides and making those things better and letting male veterans know that is not acceptable are the types of things that this recognition day was set up for, to continue to bring those issues to awareness. So our hope is that there is a day where we don't need the day. There comes a time where we don't need a day to recognize us, because we are being recognized in the ways that we should be on an equal playing field. And so that is what this day is about. So I want to continue to encourage people to step out, to seek organizations that are not only serving women veterans, but that are serving veterans in general. But I also want to encourage those organizations to be receptive of women veterans. I guess I would open that conversation up. and ask, have any of you on this call, the women veterans, have you ever tried to be a part of like a veteran service organization?
Candy.
Have I ever been a part of, sorry, one of my
Like a veteran service organization, or have you ever wanted to join one or interested? Was there an interest?
Actually, yes. I've been interested in joining a few. I've actually reached out to the Veterans Women's Empowerment group and asked to volunteer there already. Moving from Virginia, that's where I retired, to here, I've been getting back into the resources that we had here. And actually, as I transitioned out to here, I was on LinkedIn because looking for jobs and connections and all those types of things. And I actually found a person, his name is Ronnie Cyrus, and he hooked me up with Erica for this particular campaign as well. So it's nice to know that there are people out there that you can reach in our day of technology, that you can connect with them and be able to reach out to the different groups. And with all the technology that we have right now, just like we're on Facebook Live right now. Back when I joined the Navy, this was not, something that was available to us. I reached out to different groups on Facebook and through LinkedIn, requesting to join and be a part of those as well. And Eric has also reached out to me on a few different projects that she thinks that I would be a good fit for, that I'm more than willing to join in on the team to assist other women veterans and veterans in general.
Very good. And I do want to encourage those who are watching, if you have a question or a comment that you want us to ask or answer on this Facebook Live, please put it in the comments. We have somebody monitoring that, and we'll make sure those questions get answered. Do we have any questions yet?
We do not. We have a happy anniversary, Director Adams. Bless you all. And then Andy wants everybody to know that Candy's story goes live at 11 a.m. on our Facebook page. No questions here.
No questions yet. So I will say that, just coming in contact with women veterans, and just full disclosure. So Wink for All Women Veterans was my baby that I created in 2014. And I created it as this organization right here in Michigan, but it has a national platform to reach women veterans. And that kind of came about, and we're going to kind of segue into why it's so important that those veteran service organizations and those people who are serving veterans really look at your policies, look in depth as we as a nation are looking at policies across the board when we're talking about racial discrimination and all those other types of things. I challenge you to look at your policies around how you're treating women and women veterans as well, because we want to have a welcoming space. We want to have a space where we're not just looked at as the auxiliary member. We want to have a space where we can walk in the door and feel like we have an equal playing field with our veteran brothers. And so, this organization, I was dealing with a lot. I sustained a serious injury to my back where I was told I would be in a wheelchair and never walk again. And, I fell off a 2.5 truck. I know, right? Clumsy. I just lost my grip doing a 3-point, having a 3-point contact, doing a rapid dismount, and fell. And so, a couple surgeries later and dealing with that, I was in this depression, and I had nobody around me who understood me. I literally was living in this small community in Illinois where there was no active duty base within probably 50 miles, and just struggling. And so I ended up going to this retreat in Aspen, and it was a women veterans retreat. And that really was kind of the turning point for me. At the time before I went there, I had suicidal ideations, and like I said, I was struggling. And, being in a room with women veterans, some of them who were amputees, who were doing amazing things, really changed my perspective, because I was, woe is me, I'm in this wheelchair, I can't walk. But I looked and I'm like, I still have my legs. These women are climbing mountains and I still have them. How can I make them work? So that week of being with women challenged me and put me to a different limit. But unfortunately, it was something that was once a year. At the time, they didn't do them as frequently. And it was one of those things, you get this rush, right? You're like, oh my gosh, you're still on this. Yes, this was this spiritual high, I guess, and how long does that last, right? I, I went through the things I went through and decided that I was going to go to law school so I can help veterans get their benefits. So I said, because I went through that whole struggle, trying to get my benefits. And so I did all those things. And then after law school, I made the decision with help from people around me that said, okay, when are you going to do this? And formed Wink. And Wink was to bring women together, to let them know that they were not alone, to say to them that you matter, to say that this is a safe space for you to be able to talk. And so we started that through meetups. And we did that through meetups because, when women think they're going to go talk about their military service, like, I got other things to do. But when you think, okay, this is a place for me to be able to just relax and chill and maybe put some of that stuff behind me, even for an hour, that's the kind of space that I was hoping to create. And so between, then and now that I'm no longer an active part of Wink, I still support women veterans. I support all organizations that are supporting women veterans in the state of Michigan. But since that time, I've seen Wink really grow in this last year as well. I mean, see that they have 2 affiliates. They're working with Ingham County and Kent County with women veterans. Like, these counties have really taken the mantra and said, you know what, we have women veterans here. We want to be able to support them. We know what Wink is doing, so we're taking that on. And so I just encourage those organizations who are out there, who are looking to expand, who are looking to invite women veterans in, to lower your defenses, look at women.
That's good.
Parts, and just welcome them in, because we want to be a part of something. That's where when we were in the military, and when we get out, there's this. I remember when I got out, it was kind of like, okay, here are the kids back, here, take the kids now. I didn't have a time to decompress. It was like when I got back home after being gone a year, even, post injury, it was kind of like, okay, now you got to get back to mothering and business as usual. You don't get that time to process. You don't get that time to have mental health days. You just need to do that. And so that's what our women veterans, and I'm sure our male veterans are dealing with that too.
Of course.
But that's what we're dealing with. And so I would say, what are your thoughts, panel, on how we can continue to engage women veterans, or what would you say to other organizations out there on how they can welcome women veterans into the fold, I guess I would say?
Well, Director Adams, I will say that when we had our first meetup in Ingham County, it was hosted at the local VFW. And it was encouraging to hear the women veterans that were serving in leadership for various auxiliaries at the post there, that they are starting to look at ways to recruit younger military, especially women. And so I think across the board, you are going to start to see a change in recruitment, how programming is being done at a lot of our local VFWs and any other service organizations. I do believe that there is an awareness, because that was the first thing that the commander of that post came to me when I came to, because usually when we're invited in, I'll try to go through and do a walkthrough so that before our women arrive for the event, that it is women friendly and it is Wink friendly, because I know the sensitivity that our members have. And so when I was doing the walkthrough, I must say, all of the leadership walked with me. And as we were walking through, they were all acknowledging the fact that we do want to do better. We want to have a better recruiting system. And we're going out because we know that the individuals that are coming home are younger, and they don't want to sit around and drink at the bar, and they don't want to sit around and just, talk without purpose. So I would like to think that in the state of Michigan, a lot of our service organizations and post and after military groups are starting to think in terms of, we need to do something different.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. I've had some organizations reach out, and we're actually working on maybe putting together a panel of women veterans to talk about, experiences of walking into, not a VFW, a DAV, any one of those offices, and what that's like. I personally, I don't belong to an organization, and I never wanted to reach out to be a part of that. I think in my job, it's so veteran heavy that, I don't feel that need. And I get a lot of that, I guess, that veteran camaraderie and sustenance from actually helping other veterans and, being a phone call away from a lot of them. And, but yeah, we're working on some trainings and some things that we can do, throw out some ideas, some different kinds of events that these organizations can have, to open up to female membership and the kids maybe that come along, or their partners, or to be a little more inclusive and open, and not assume immediately when a woman walks through the door she belongs to the auxiliary.
There you go.
That's happened to me multiple times, speaking at events even, and identifying myself as a Navy veteran. I've been asked to be in the auxiliary. And though the auxiliary is a beautiful wing of the organization, I served in the military, and so I don't want to be in the auxiliary. My wife can be in the auxiliary.
Right.
So yeah, so that's, just things that, we'll work on as partners together. And, as we hear stories from our women veterans in the state, that's how we can change, that's how we can help and educate and change things.
Well, I do know.
And sorry.
No, go ahead, Candy.
I think we're actually in a perfect opportunity right now. Like, we are all home essentially. We're using technology to do our jobs, and to reach everybody like we are now. And when you have women veterans, some of them, like we've said before, may feel uncomfortable walking into a setting like that at first. Due to COVID reasons, we have the perfect opportunity right now to reach more people than we would on a normal basis. So what we are actually doing right now, and continue to do with this campaign and other campaigns like the Buddy to Buddy campaign that's happening, this is our opportunity to reach those female veterans that normally are home, and spouses that are normally home right now, taking care of not only the family, but may also be juggling a position with a company or anything like that, as I am. And we're here. So our audience is right in front of us.
And Candy, that's great that you said that, because there is, and Director Adams, you can help me with this, but I know that there is a all women veterans AMVET post that was just installed in officers here in the state of Michigan. And I think it's the second only to an AMVET's chapter or post in California. And now we have, and Director Adams, I hope you won't get too flattered by this, but it is named after Zanetta Adams Post 77. And that was a major vote, because to have a AMVET's named after you, that's not, that's amazing. That's to be recognized. But I just wanted to say that that's another opportunity for women veterans to come together in a post that's been stood up by women veterans, and start to create some of those best practices for other service organizations across the country. And we're right here in Michigan. And I believe that's the first time in Michigan that I'm sure there's an all-woman veterans chartered post that's been established. So that's another opportunity for Michigan to be at the head of the game, to show other cities and states that women veterans, the same leadership that they exhibited and shared for our country, they can also share in our states. And Michigan is a front runner in that area.
Well, I will say a couple of full disclosures. Full disclosure, this all started happening before I got in this position. We were last Military Sisterhood Initiative event when I was still a part of WINK in Roscommon at the AMVETS Post. And
right.
We're having some deep conversations about, well, how can we find a space within an organization like a veteran service organization that we can really be expressive. And so that AMVETS Post 77 was born. It was a surprise to me that it was named after me.
Yes.
I I'm very honored that I was able to get that, you know, in life and not in death, because usually that's when those namings come. I will say, you know, even I'm a lifetime member of American Legion. And that's something that, you know, I've been a member since, oh gosh, probably 2000, 2005 or something like that. I can't remember the year. It's been a while now, but I will say that veteran service organizations are very important. They're important to the veteran community, and that's all of them. They advocate on the Hill for all of these changes that you see when you're talking about pay increases for service connection, when you're talking about looking at the changes within the VA. They are the biggest advocates out there. So it's imperative that we continue to support them, but it's also imperative that those organizations continue to open their doors and open their eyes and open their hearts to how they can bring more of that female veteran and just diversity into the, not only the leadership, but into the community, because then that's how we can continue to make that change on that national level where they advocate. So, you know, we're having some great discussions. I would, do we have any questions? Nobody asked questions yet?
We do have a question. Somebody wants to know where the all women's post is located.
Oh, that's good.
So what I do know is that what's interesting is that we have, and I can't remember the number of members. I know we have over 50 members, and they're all across the country. The actual headquarter where you have live meetings is in Muskegon, I believe.
Yes, at the Women's Club.
But they join by Zoom, or, you know, they're going to join by virtual. And because I think they were going to be having the first meeting before COVID-19 that hit, and they weren't able, they haven't done a virtual one yet, but I'm sure that's coming. But so you can join virtual and you can be a part of it. And we do, it's not just an all women veterans post anymore. We do have some men who joined like after it was right. I don't know if they just want to be around a lot of women. I don't know, but it's not exclusive. So we would never say it's all women and women only. It was just the first chartered all women veterans when it was chartered. And so then now we hope that it grows. We hope that, you know, and I'm still a part of that. And I'm willing to be a part of any of those organizations because I'm all about change. I've never want to be a part of just for fluff. I always want to be a part of something that I can help be a part of making change. So that's important to me. It's important that we're taking care of our veteran brothers and sisters and looking for ways that we can continue to grow is what I'll say. And I'll remind everyone, I want you to think back to the days in basic training. And, you know, with everything that's going on right now, I want you to remember how if one person didn't make their bunk right, we all suffered, because we were here to help make sure each and every one of us was on target. And so, you know, it would be great if all of us on this call, those who are watching, could remember those tenets as we go out into the community, that those who suffer together, who go through it together, those who can help gently police each other. Some of that wasn't gently, I'm just gonna be honest, but those who can gently help police each other and keep each other on task, we can emerge out of all of the things that are going on. I think we can come out of that in a better place, because we struggled together. We literally, I mean, if you would talk to any military person, and I go back to basic training because that's where the struggle was really real. And then those who served in combat know the difference of the struggle. You weren't looking at anybody's gender. You weren't looking at race. You weren't looking at ethnicity. You were looking, okay, you got my back, I got yours. All right, let's go in. So I think we need to take some of those. We have a responsibility as veterans, those who served in the military, who remember feeling that camaraderie regardless of gender and bias or anything that we held during those times when we were all just trying to like survive.
Right.
And take that out into the world and help to mend the brokenness that's going on right now. And I bring that up because I know I've worked with so many different women who have been broken and who have been hurt and who have been silent. Things that they've dealt with in the military. So it's up to us to continue to encourage that dialogue, to encourage them to speak out. And it's up to our brothers to encourage that as well, and to be okay in an uncomfortable space as you learn. So, did we have any more questions?
We have a comment. Trevor Wireman says, Director Adams, I work for a contractor staffing, GRHV. Just wanted to say, Grand Rapids Home for Veterans. Just wanted to say I've truly enjoyed your leadership and energy to this point. Thank you for all that you have done and continue to do.
Thank you so much, Trevor.
And then Michelle Foster says, hi, I'm the CEO of a veteran-centered nonprofit. I've thought about having part of my organization being woman-orientated. Who do I connect with to see how we can help each other? So Michelle, I would say connect with me. You can reach me. I'll throw my email and my cell phone number that you can reach me at in the comment box when we're done here. But you reach out to me. We'll work together. That's my job. That's what I love to do. I am the advocate for female veterans. I'm for the whole state. Let me know what's going on so I can help. And I'm also, a lot of times, I'll get a referral from somebody that, that wants to file a claim, or that they've had, some serious trauma in the military. And I can help walk through that process with you. Though I'm not a veteran service officer, I've gone through the training. I'm not an expert, but I am an ear to listen, and I can help you navigate through those avenues and kind of learn and break down barriers so that you are successful.
And I would say, Erica, tell her.
I would add too. Yeah, I would just say too, Michelle, if you want to reach out to Wink, if there's any events or any activities that we're offering or we're providing, we would love for you to come and just be in the audience or be in the presence of women veterans. Because I do think as we're providing services for a group, you also need to understand the group as well.
And I would say, Erica, tell her a little in the audience, really a little bit more about the Michigan Women Veterans Coalition and that purpose and what.
That's good.
Yeah, so we just created, MBAA had previously had the Michigan Women Veteran Advisory Board. It was a purely advisory panel of women that applied. And I believe there were, I want to say 8 women, maybe more. They're all fantastic. They all had amazing, history of military service. It didn't feel, when I came on board, it had already existed, and it didn't feel like it was really hitting the mark. We weren't really able to get a lot of action out of it. So they voted last year to dissolve the advisory board and create the Michigan Women Veteran Coalition. So this coalition is made up of federal, state, local, and nonprofit partners in the state. They span the entire state of Michigan. And we are working on advocacy for female veterans, how to identify female veterans, identify gaps in services, collaboration and communication, and pooling our resources together and our brains, because just every single person that sits on this 22-seat coalition works with or advocates for female veterans. And there's a spot for each one of our women veteran program managers. If you don't know who they are, please reach out to me. There is a program manager meant to help with women veterans health services in every single VA in the state. And we have 5 of those. And so they're involved, and their input is taken, and they're the experts in their areas, and they know what's going on there. And so really MBAA is there to help kind of bring it all together and be that, that voice for that change for the advocacy that we're working on at that level. Now, we've only had 1 official meeting so far. We've had kind of like a catch up, with COVID-19. We all, we were all struggling at first to figure out how to connect and what to do. We're working through those kinks right now on how we can kind of collaborate a little bit more rather than meeting just every quarter. Because everybody has a full-time job as well, and so, making time for that. But also, I'm here always for them to reach out to if they notice that there's any issues going on, or, if there's something that we need to advocate for, because then I can write it up and send it to Director Adams, and she can advocate at the highest levels of the VA. So, like I said, it's so important that we speak up and speak out, and we go through, get our benefits, get our, get our health care, get all that stuff. And I use the VA. I didn't used to use the VA. But then I realized that I really needed to, that it was important that I do, and that it was important that I go through the motions and figure out how all of this works so I can help. And I have, and I connect with my, my primary care physician, and we talk about my position, and we talk about all these things. So, just educating everybody that you can, and talking about things that are happening so we can really change what needs to be changed.
And those
And
meetings
Erica,
are open to the public too. I was going to say those meetings are open to the public too.
Yeah, they are.
It's something virtual. You can always tune in, and when it's open for public comment, just make your voice be heard. And so those, that's what's important to us as well. And
serving on that coalition as a nonprofit, I will say it has benefited WINK because now we have the resources at one table. And as we're engaging our women veterans, and again, we're a referral service, now I know who to refer and who to call and who to email with a better navigation system, as opposed to giving a number to one of our women veterans and then they're calling and emailing and not getting immediate response. Now with the coalition and with the resource center, it has been the best, to me, tool, being on the coalition and then having those resources that the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency is offering to help navigate the VA and all of the resources and benefits that our women veterans are entitled to. It has really been a big help so that we can do the engagement and let the folks that are experts and have the resources do what they need to do, and we're not all confused at what needs to happen. So I appreciate that.
And so as we talk about connectivity, if you could quickly tell, Henrietta, if you could quickly tell the listeners about how they can be connected, so they might be able to go to a meetup. They may not want to go to a meetup. They may not physically go to a meetup, but what kind of virtual opportunities are there for women, sister veterans, that they can actually get access to stay connected with other women veterans?
Well, due to COVID-19, we too had to find a place of relevancy and what we were providing to our women veterans and their families. So the first thing we did is we established a peer support group that meets weekly every Wednesday so that you can call in. A lot of our women veterans don't want to be in a Zoom situation like this. So we've established a weekly peer support phone call that's on our website or on our Facebook page, which is wink.com, winkforall.com. So you can just WINC, not WINK. WINK means Women Injured in Combat, for all women veterans. And just put that in at forall.com or at our Facebook page, and all of our information for the peer support group will be there. And then we have another series, an empowerment series called Win Again. And that's alluding to what Director Adams said before, is that how hard our women fought. We want you to fight even harder to sustain your life after the military. So there's a series, a monthly series that we have designed for women veterans called the Win Again series. And that too now is being provided virtually as well. And all of this information is on our Facebook page or our website page, Wink for All Women Veterans. So we're doing a lot and becoming more innovative in how we're providing our services to women veterans and their families. And it's all on our Facebook or website. But I will say to what Candy had mentioned about getting involved is that we are always looking for volunteers. And what I have seen happen is when a woman veteran serves her sisters in a volunteer capacity, call on the phone or email or to reach out to her, we tend to get a better response. So I am offering and I am recruiting and advocating right now. If you are a woman veteran that's out there and you don't want, you're feeling isolated or you're feeling as if you don't have a place, I welcome you to WINK. And I welcome you to WINK in a sense that if you and I can communicate, I will talk with you, you can talk with me, and we'll identify where you fit in. But right now, your sisters need you. And through our platform at WINK, we need you so that we can better serve you and your sisters with all of the information that we are given as I go out and I serve on various coalitions and task force and boards with tons of information, but it's hard when I get the information and I can't go back to the office to share the information with the women veterans and their families that need it. So we need you. And I am asking all women veterans that have time and need a place to call Wink for All Women Veterans so that we can find a place for you so we can serve your women, your fellow sisters.
Thank you so much. So I know we're coming up on an hour. I do want to just put out some resources out there for women veterans. Stay further connected if you you want to get on these calls, but you also want to have options to chat with women from all over the country, and that's the Military Sisterhood Initiative. That initiative was created through a partnership with Wink and Challenge America. It is a national initiative. There's over 4,000 women veterans that are connected to it currently since its launch in March. And it's a place, it's an app that you can download. It's a place where you can stay connected with your sister veterans. You can chat, you can post stories of encouragement. You can see some events that are for women veterans, and you can actually click on a little button that shows women veterans that are near you that are connected to the app. So it's a great place. You would go to militarysisterhoodinitiative.com to get connected. And I think that that's another tool in our toolbox to help with our mental health and wellness, to stay connected to other sisters who've got a journey. And maybe you can find someone on there that you served with as well. So that's a great opportunity. I would also encourage you, whether you're male or female, that we are a resource hub at Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency. So if you are needing resources, whether it be emergency financial resources, maybe it's educational or employment opportunities, maybe you're looking for apprenticeship opportunities or ways to use your GI Bill, or you're looking to get your DD-214, which we can get that pretty much for the majority of people. We can get your DD-214 if the National Personnel Records has it, but we have it here in Michigan, we can get it for you. So, or your NGB22 as well. So I encourage you to call us at 1-800-MISHVET. That's 1-800-6, I think it's 642-4838. Yes, 642-4838. Or you can visit us at michiganveterans.com. And as always, please, you can email us. You can go to that michiganveterans.com and send us an email or give us a call. We are open and ready to hear from you. And I wanted to finally say that we want to make sure that you are connected, that you have the outreach, that there's outreach in every region of the state. So pretty soon we will be launching a program, I won't say a program, an initiative across the state where you'll have several teams within your region, the 10 prosperity regions that were set up some time ago. We will have a team of people working in your region to keep you connected in this well-rounded approach to make sure that you're getting access to your resources, your benefits, mental health and substance abuse resources, and the like. I will finally say that if you are a veteran or you know a veteran who you think needs to be connected to their benefits and resources, or you want that person to know more about what's going on in their benefits world, please visit us at michiganveterans.com and go to our Check on My Vet button. Click on that, put in a little bit of information, and they can receive a call from one of our Resource Center techs to kind of walk them through some of the things that they may be missing out on. It's important that we're taking advantage of all the benefits and resources that are available to us. You might think somebody else needs it more, but I will tell you, just like anything else, if there's money sitting out there in the federal government and don't spend it, then the next year they take it back so somebody else needs it as well. So take advantage of your benefits. And I would say if for all the panelists, you have 30 seconds to just kind of give some parting words as to what you want the people out there to know about not only what this day means to you, but what being a female veteran means to you, or what serving veterans mean to you. And I'll give it to you, Candy, go.
Well, for me, it means showing that, to my son, that women can do anything that they put their minds to. It doesn't matter their physical ability or anything like that. It does matter what they put their minds to. If we want to do it, we can do it. And he knows that now. I'd also like to just say that as someone coming from Virginia into Michigan and have never, I've lived here as a child, but never as an adult, Flint, Michigan VA and the Ann Arbor VA were amazing. I had a smooth transition.
Great.
into those facilities and didn't have a problem. My primary care is great. I never have an issue with any services that I need in this state. And I am amazed at how different it is than some of the other states that some of my counterparts have talked to me about.
That is so awesome to hear. Thank you so much for joining us today, Candy. And I'll a few parting words.
I would just like to say to our governor and to all of our elected officials that made this day possible to recognize our women veterans, thank you. And for those women veterans who are suffering in silence, your voice is being heard because there's women like Candy, Director Adams, and Erica that are raising the flag and raising the alarm for your service. And thank you. And go out and encourage another woman veteran today and recognize her and the life that she lives.
Thank you so much, Henrietta. And finally, Erica, if you could give a few words and let everybody know where they can find Candy's story again.
Yeah, so I just wanted to thank Candy, and I wanted to thank everybody else that's participated, and she is a veteran. It takes a lot of courage to be out there and be out there with all of your, your vulnerabilities and your struggles and your challenges and, the really good things that happen in your service. So thank you. I think this is really going to make a huge impact on our women in the state. It certainly has on me already. So again, Candy's story, it should be live right now. Actually, it's 11:01. So Candy's video is on, and then a written article of her story is also on. Please share it. Please share your story also under that. And let's connect. And if you need anything, connect with me. I'm going to put my info in in the comment box right now. And happy Women Veterans Recognition Day to all my sisters out there. I see you. And I'm here for you. And I know that we're all here for each other too. So like Henrietta said, please reach out and touch somebody today and let them know you're thankful for their sisterhood and their service.
But thank you so much to all the panelists. Thank you for allowing me to continue to serve. I'm so honored to be the director of this agency and to serve all my veterans, whether they're male, female, it doesn't matter. I'm honored to serve you. Continue to reach out to us if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, and we'll be back until next time. So thank you all and have a great day. Happy Women Veterans Recognition Day.
Thank you.